Last year, I almost bought this thing. Not this car exactly, but the Mazda CX-9 all-wheel drive Signature. You see, a friend of mine offered me an 18-month-old Mazda CX-9 all-wheel drive Signature that had less than 6,000 kilometers on the clock, and I almost bought it. Now, the only reason why I didn't pull the trigger is the size of this thing. I mean, it's too long and it's too wide to fit in my parking garage. Yeah, I know. I need to get a bigger house or maybe get a bigger parking area. But still, if you want to know why the Mazda CX-9 all-wheel drive Signature is my choice for a premium 7-seater SUV, well, stick around and watch my review and drive impressions. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button and become part of the Reagan's Rides family. If you're my subscriber already, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, and click that like button as well. Also special thanks to Mazda Philippines for lending us the Mazda CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive to do this review right here on location here at Crusoe Cabins, Calatagan, Batangas. As you can see, the Mazda CX-9 is a perfect companion for your family beach getaways. The CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive is one of two flagship SUVs that are available from Mazda's local stable. This CX-9 is the flagship SUV that's offered in the North American market, while the slimmer CX-8 is the flagship SUV that's available for the Japanese market. Now, both the CX-8 and the CX-9 are available locally here in the Philippines, but the CX-9 still holds the crown as the largest and most expensive Mazda SUV that you can buy from Mazda Philippines. This top-spec CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive has a retail price of 2,950,000 Philippine pesos, but at the time of this filming, there are still some pretty good deals and discounts going on for the CX-9. So if you're interested to know more about those deals and discounts, you might as well inquire with your nearest Mazda dealer. Oh yeah, and Mazda Philippines has also extended the free preventive maintenance service package from 3 years to 5 years, such that owning a CX-9 is now a hassle-free motoring experience. The Mazda CX-9 still retains the original Kodo design language front fascia and still doesn't get the updated Kodo design that the other CX series have already gotten. Now that doesn't mean though that the looks of the CX-9 have already been left behind, because this original Kodo design has aged quite gracefully. Now that's one of the advantages of keeping your designs simple yet elegant. Now the top spec Mazda CX-9 could still run with the newer and more modern SUVs and crossovers out there when it comes to its lighting technology, because we have here a fully adaptive LED headlights, we have LED DRLs, and we also have a pair of LED fog lights. The side profile of the CX-9 shows off its mass. Now this is one of the longest mid-size SUVs that are available in the local market, and that length also translates to a longer wheelbase. Now since you have a longer wheelbase here, the CX-9 will offer you more cabin space, more legroom, and a more stable ride on the highway. Now the top-spec CX-9 Signature also gets power folding side mirrors with LED turn signals, and we have a set of 20-inch wheels here that are wrapped in 225/50 R20 tires. Behind those wheels, we get 4-wheel disc brakes, and for your suspension, we have a McPherson setup in the front and an independent multi-link rear suspension at the back. The ground clearance is a respectable 220 millimeters, which is really good and practical, especially if you want to take this CX-9 out for some light trail work. The rear end of the CX-9 is pretty similar to the Mazda CX-8, which explains why I often confuse the CX-8 for the CX-9 and vice versa, especially when I see it from the rear end. Now, this is such a nice, simple, and clean design, and it's fast becoming instantly recognizable as a Mazda rear end. Now, the top spec CX-9 Signature gets a power liftgate here, and when you pop open that liftgate, you'll see one of the advantages of having such a long vehicle with a long wheelbase. With the third row in use, we still get 407 liters of trunk capacity here. Now the CX-9 also has a space-saving spare tire here, as well as the subwoofer for your Bose sound system. Now if you need more space than 407 liters, you could always tumble down the third row seats, and that should expand your trunk capacity to over 1,000 liters. Now if 1,000 liters is still not enough for you, you could also fold down the second row seats, and that gives you over 2,000 liters of cargo capacity. Now that's a lot of cargo space, and it's only second to the Ford Explorer's cargo capacity. The engine of the Mazda CX-9 has remained unchanged since I reviewed it 2 years ago. Mazda has built such a capable engine that they don't see the need to tweak it too much. Now what we have here is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged Skyactiv G engine that can put out 227 horses and 420 Newton meters of torque. Now the power is sent to all four wheels via a 6-speed Skyactiv automatic transmission. Now a 6-speed automatic transmission may seem a bit dated, especially for a premium mid-size SUV, but you gotta believe me when I tell you that you have to drive this thing and you'll see that that Skyactiv transmission still performs quite brilliantly. Now since this is a large vehicle, don't expect to get stellar fuel economy and you wouldn't be disappointed. When I drove it around the city, I was only able to get as much as 6 kilometers per liter, and in the highway drive coming to this location, I was only able to get 14 kilometers per liter. Well, if you can afford such a premium mid-size SUV, well then fuel economy should be the least of your worries. The premium design and feel extends all the way inside the CX-9's cabin. This cabin layout is simple yet elegant, even borderline luxurious. The CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive gets ventilated front seats, and we also have power adjustments both for the driver and the passenger, and it's also wrapped in beautiful brown Napa leather. Now the steering wheel is also leather wrapped here, and we have buttons for cruise control and hands-free connectivity. Now the steering wheel also adjusts for tilt, and it also telescopes. So that should make it easy to find the perfect driving position. However, I did notice that we don't get any paddle shifters here, which is a bit of a miss because, well, the Mazda CX-9 is still quite a capable and spirited performer. So a set of paddle shifters would be a blessing here inside the CX-9. Now when you look at the gauge cluster here, this is a combination of analog and digital. We have a digital display right smack in the center, and I love the design of this. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it reminds me of the gauges found in a BMW. Now the infotainment system of the CX-9 is an 8-inch touchscreen affair here that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The thing is, when you are in CarPlay or Android Auto, the touchscreen gets disabled, so you can't really navigate on the screen, but instead you have to control it on the master control knob found right here in the center. Now, that's a minor quirk, guys, but trust me, it can get annoying, especially when you're trying to input an address in your Google Maps or Waze app. Now, the image quality of the 360-degree view camera can also be found in the infotainment screen, and I have to say, guys, yeah, this is a usable 360-degree view image, but well, Mazda could definitely improve on this. The resolution is nowhere near at the same level as the other newer offerings found now. Now, all those minor quibbles about the infotainment system aside, everything will be forgiven once you get a chance to listen to the sound system, because the top spec CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive comes with a 12-speaker Bose sound system with a subwoofer, which I just showed you a while back. Now, say what you want about Bose, guys, but once you play those tunes, wow, the sound quality here inside, it's gold, man. It is gold. Now, I'd love to play a sample music here on the video, but I can't really do that, guys, so you'll just have to take my word for it because, well, you know, YouTube copyrights. Now we also get a triple zone climate control system here, and it's fully automatic, plus we have a toggle switch for sport mode. Now we also have the master control knob here in the center and an electronic parking brake. But in a show of, well, the age of the Mazda CX-9, the electronic parking brake doesn't really get an auto hold feature, whereas the newer cars nowadays that are coming out all have that auto hold feature, especially for the premium offerings. Now we also have a couple of cup holders here, which I'm sure will pass my clean canteen test because this is a North American model. So yeah, definitely these cup holders would pass that, but I don't really have my clean canteen because I'm on vacation right now, guys. I'm in the beach. And yeah, so definitely that will pass. And when you look up, you have a sunroof right there. Well, that to add to that a premium feel inside this cabin. Now, speaking of premium feel, I mean, my goodness, as I told you, this cabin is really elegant. You've got brown Napa leather inserts on the dashboard, on the door cards. Everything is wrapped in either leather or soft touch materials. And I love this, the sides of the center tunnel here, where we not only have stitched brown Napa leather at the bottom part, but we also have actual rosewood accents found right here, which gives it that genteel, elegant, feel to it. And the great thing here, guys, is the fit and finish, the tolerances, well, it would rival even the giants from Europe. That is how good the cabin of the CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive feels like. Wow! Now, the CX-9 gets a standard bench seat here versus the top spec CX-8 that gets captain seats. Now, captain seats are nice and all, but when it comes to versatility, well, these bench type seats are still the king of the hill. Now, guys, I'm 5'6", and as you can see, I got a good, nearly a foot long worth of knee room here. And for my headroom, yeah, I'm counting around 8 inches of headroom. So yeah, this has tons of space, guys, and you could easily put 3 adults right here in the second row. Now for the toys, well, this is the top spec Mazda CX-9, so you do get a lot of toys here. We've got the third climate control zone right here where you have your own controls, a couple of rear AC vents, and we also have a center armrest here with 2 cup holders, and it also hides 2 USB charging ports in case you need to charge your devices. Now with the center armrest right here, well, you practically have, well, captain seats already, but if you need the extra space, you could always put that away and a third person can sit right here in the middle. Now other toys that you have here is you also have privacy shades in order to, well, keep the sun out in case you want to close your eyes and take a nap. Now let's head to the third row seats to see what kind of space we can expect in the third row. Now, in case you're traveling with a full load of 7 passengers, and the CX-9 can fit 7 passengers because you could put 2 actual regular size adults here at the back seat at the third row. Now, it would be best if you could keep it at below 5'10" for people who would be seated here in the third row because, well, yeah, despite the long wheelbase, it also has its limits. Now at 5'6", I am super comfortable here. I got a great amount of knee room, still have around nearly 5 inches of knee room here, and the headroom is still a respectable and decent 3 inches. Now, the thing is, there's really no AC vents found here at the third row, so it might get a little bit warm unless you ask the guys up front to crank up your air conditioning. Now, you do get a couple of cup holders here on the sides, plus a couple of cubbies to park your cell phone or your other knickknacks. Now, let's get out of this third row seat and hop back to the driver's seat and take this CX-9 out for a spin. Alright guys, so we're now driving the Mazda CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive. And I got to drive this thing 2 years ago and I was thoroughly impressed with its handling, with its power, and its overall comfort. However, at that time, I was only starting out as a car reviewer back then. Now, I've driven more than 100 cars since I drove the CX-9 2 years ago, and I can say that even after driving all those cars, the Mazda CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive is still way up there when it comes to the overall driving experience. I mean, I've driven only a few SUVs that can rival the Mazda CX-9 when it comes to its total driving engagement. Now, the steering response of the CX-9 is absolutely spot on. I'd even say that it rivals the steering quality of those vehicles coming from BMW, and that's saying a lot. I love that it's got the perfect amount of heft tuned into the steering despite being an electric power assist system. And when you take corners like what we're gonna do now, the handling, the steering response is so quick, the turn-in is so sharp, and it feels like you're driving a sport SUV. Now, when it comes to acceleration, well, this thing is still quite a heavy mid-size SUV. And despite being equipped with a very capable 2.5-liter turbocharged engine that puts out 227 horses, from standstill, you could still feel the heft of the CX-9 when it starts going. The engine exerts a bit more effort, but once you're already rolling on the road, the momentum's with you. You know, this thing is a very capable performer. Now, granted guys, I am talking about normal mode here, and well, it doesn't feel like an eco mode at all, but there is that feeling that it's trying to squeeze out as much fuel economy as it can, even in just in normal mode. The CX-9 doesn't get an eco mode though, but it does have a sport mode. And when you toggle this to sport mode, wow, it totally transforms. It loves to rev, and that feeling that it's trying to save on fuel totally disappears. So in sport mode, it really loves to rev to the point that sometimes you have some form of rev hang already, but it becomes a more engaging drive, and it just gives you all the goods. Now, being a top spec offering, of course you could expect that the safety features of the CX-9 is also top notch. We've got 6 airbags here, we've got ABS with EBD, blind spot monitoring, we have lane departure alert, and also stability control. Now, of course, you have to pair that with your front and rear parking sensors, as well as your 360-degree view camera, and overall, the safety suite of the CX-9 is at par with most of the newer SUV offerings nowadays. Now, going to this beach location, I was able to go through some twisty roads, and I was able to test out the handling dynamics of the CX-9. You see, when you go through the twisties, you could really feel the heft of the vehicle. There is some body lean as you take corners at a faster clip, and you do know that you are driving a mid-size crossover, a mid-size SUV. Now, the good thing here is this has an all-wheel drive system, so even if I'm taking corners faster than normal, well, I have that confidence because I know that I'm driving an all-wheel drive vehicle, and mechanical grip would always be there. So it was never an issue if I'm going to lose control of the vehicle. It's not an issue at all. Now, having said that though, if you're not really driving this thing like a maniac, well, the NVH levels and the ride quality is also fantastic. The NVH levels is superb. There's really no tire noise or road noise coming into the cabin. And even if we're going through a not so perfect road now, as you can see, I could feel the car moving around, but the bumps and the potholes, they're not being transmitted as vibration inside the cabin. So that tells me that, we've got a premium level of NVH, and the suspension quality of the CX-9 is also top-notch. Overall, guys, well, the CX-9 may be a few years old, but it is still running with the best of the premium SUV offerings out there in the market. I mean, if you don't really mind that fuel economy, well, as I mentioned, if you can afford this thing, I don't even think fuel economy would be an issue for you. But if you don't really mind that, this Mazda CX-9 can deliver comfort, performance, and top-notch quality, plus that 5-year Mazda free preventive maintenance service in one handsome-looking package. The Mazda CX-9 Signature all-wheel drive pretty much sums up what a perfect mid-size city crossover is for me. I put a lot of value on a premium and comfortable cabin, plus it is also engaging to drive. Now, the fact that it has a good suite of safety features and that all-wheel drive capability further sweetens the deal. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I almost bought this thing. Too bad it doesn't fit in my garage. Oh well, at least there's still the Mazda CX-8. Anyway, thanks for watching.